But what we need really is a Chief Justice with a vision and a determined to reach that vision. I hope you will look for a justice like that, not necessarily myself, but somebody that you feel has a vision and will reach for it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sa palagay niyo po, meron ho bang nakakaligtaan ang public, ang masang Pilipino sa kanilang palagay tungkol sa Korte Suprema? What do you think are the root causes of the perceived lack of trust in the judicial system in general, in the Supreme Court in particular? And siguro tuloy-tuloy niyo na po yung sagot. Ano hong tingin ninyo ang magandang solusyon para dito?
Well, I think we get plenty of bad publicity from some of our cases. But in the future, I think the court has to sit down and, well, the Chief Justice should be able to bring them together to come to certain agreement. One of the proposals that I make is that we have so many cases. Huh? One of the proposals I make is that we be careful in making our decisions. And we can do that because we cannot guard everybody. We have 3 divisions, and sometimes we come up with conflicting decisions. So I go for really important decisions, really doctrinal setting decisions. But what do we have? We have, when you open this CRA, you discover a lot of unjust dismissal cases, halos 1/4 of the book. And then sheriffs who marketed money, clerk of court who malversed funds, rape cases. This is what you find in our... so I suggested to them that we, what do you call that, screen the decisions that are really important and pay more attention to them. See, and just dispose of the others by memorandum decision, so that we are not unduly creating disagreements in various cases that we have. Well, it's still something that we debated over it last Tuesday, you remember, because I am the advocate of that position that we should be more careful in our decisions to avoid, as I said, that perception that we flip-flop or things like that. But you know, in that flip-flopping case in the cities, there's nobody really out of... It so happened that cases was taken up when 7 justices left the court. So the new justices that came in, they have their own views. So since the balance of votes were somewhat close, just a few of those incoming who have different views will tilt it to the other side. As a matter of fact, there's actually only 2 who changed their vote, and not flip-flop. They just changed it once. The others, I think there were many justices who voted it. None of the others, maybe 17 justices, because there were changes, ever changed his vote. So it's a lack of what you call understanding of the way of what happened there.
Thank you po. If I may, Justice, I'd like to ask you one question that is close to my heart. One is, I think I have been extensively answered by you, and that is about the delay in the administration dispensation of justice. Just to follow up on that particular point, ano ho ba ang konkretong magagawa ninyo para mapabilisan ang paglitis para sa mga akusado sa kriminal na kaso upang mawalan sala at maabsuelto ang hindi naman talaga mabigyan katarungan ng hindi may kasalanan sa mabilis na paraan ayon sa batas?
Well, yung nga sinasabi ko, we will change from the very slow adversarial system into the combined adversarial, etc. Now, in the criminal cases, actually, I have the problem there is that our jail are congested, and the case is not being tried fast enough. What we did together with the International Red Cross is to establish in Manila, first as a pilot place, we established there a task force Kalayaan that will monitor the cases, the criminal cases. to make sure that they move, and to make sure that those who are held in court, what do you call that, unduly for a long time, are going to be freed. For example, we have a prisoner in Manila that has been there for 17 years. Imagine, 17 years. His case has not been finished. I was going to call the judge and tell him to dismiss that case if it's not been. That's already patent denial of right to speedy trial. Dispose of it, or I'm going to file an administrative case against him for that kind. And the problem in our country is that our bail system is anti-poor. I don't know if you realize that. It is anti-poor. Why? It is the Department of Justice that sets the bail bond guide. And I don't know why the judges follow it as a rule. The judges will reduce the bail only if you pay cash and then one half cash, then you will be allowed to go. But who can pay cash? Only yung mayaman. Based on the bail bond guide, if the owner of the mall and the tricycle driver commits the same crime, who do you think will stay in jail while the case is being tried? The tricycle driver. You see? And we have no right to treat the poor like that. We are working on it.
I agree with you completely, Justice. Another very important topic for me, Justice, Your Honor, please, is trial by publicity. Can you please explain very briefly your views, if there are any, if you agree that it has pernicious effects in the administration and dispensation of justice? And what mechanisms, if any, do you think are very important to shield the judicial system from...
well, I don't know. No, you have to... That may come to us later on. No? So it's difficult to say, to take a position, but I'm somewhat a liberalist in a sense. No? Well, not too extreme. So there's the freedom of the press on the one hand, and the other hand, there's you have to protect the accused, because the judges will yield to probably to the public opinion. Although I doubt that, because maybe a jury, the newspaper, he will be influenced. But our judges somewhat are professional judges, by the way. And it's good you remember me that we don't have a bad court, really. I think 80% of our judges are doing very well. Some of them die on their work, you see.
Chairman, if I may, just one last question. As a final question, Justice Abad, what is your concept of the rule of law? How do you envision it in the sphere of having a judicial philosophy, if I may ask?
Well, I'm really for the rule of law, as you all are. We are all for the rule of law because we have rule of men, magulo tayo. You see, so we really have to have, everybody should obey the law, no? Sabi ni Mayor Lim. Otherwise, it's useless to have law. Congress should have no more job, and everybody will decide cases from disputes from case to case. So we have to have rule of law. But we should interpret the law to serve justice. That's what I mean. No? That in that sense, I will go for putting the human considerations in the interpretation of the law.
Just one last follow-up. Rule of law and the sovereign Filipino people, who do you think is supreme?
I think they're the same because law comes from the people indirectly through the elected legislature. That's my answer.
Maraming salamat po, Justice.
Salamat.
It's a pleasure asking questions from you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I will ask questions. Because,
don't ask me difficult questions.
no, anyway, for the information of everybody, Justice Abad and I sit in the same third division. We have been there for the past 2 years. I know that Justice Abad is very much qualified. I confirm what Justice Lagman said, that he's an innovator. But I have some questions to educate the public how we work in the Supreme Court. Now, aside from your adjudicatory functions, Justice Robert, what other functions do you perform?
Well, I'm quite busy in committees. Well, after 1 year, I asked the Chief Justice, we have no committee